Here we are with the long-awaited start to Code Geass, and you might be shocked to learn this is an anime involving giant robots, part of that rare breed of programs I know. But this one's twist is revealed all too soon in the first episode, as two young boys are playing. You can tell this is fiction because A, it involves children actually being outside, and B, paranoid adults are not freaking out that there are kids out of eyeshot for more than 2 seconds. This is the year 2010, the year that the Holy Britannian Empire attacked Japan. Now don't let the name fool you. Britannia is not in fact Britain, it's someone else. Here's a hint. Their initials are USA. From what I understand, and I find this whole situation confusing to say the least, I guess the American Revolution failed and so the US was never formed and remained all imperial and stuff. And then Britain itself was taken over, and so the American colonies just took over everything. Because they couldn't beat the British, but they could beat everyone else. So, we're in opposite land. The map essentially shows us World War II with all of the arrows reversed. Instead of Japan being the empire striking out in all directions across the Pacific, including the neutral United States, now it's the Imperial United States striking from all directions around neutral Japan in the Pacific. I'm not bitter about it or anything. I find it kind of amusing, actually. America, when it makes alternate history, it's where World War II ends with them losing. Japan makes alternate history where World War II is on planet Bizarro and everybody is picking on them for no reason. What helped Britannia win the war was the aforementioned giant robots, the Nightmare Frames, and they renamed their captured territory here in Japan Area 11, and the Japanese are only referred to as 11s now. And not in the that babe is totally a 9 kind of way either. Well, the young kid watching this makes a vow that he will one day obliterate Britannia, ending our prologue, and after the titles, bringing us to the future year of 2017, and there's a military pursuit of a truck commandeered by the Revolution. This is actually called Code Geass, Lelouch of the Revolution, so an underground resistance is to be expected. Things start with Lelouch coming to the rescue of this old fart who's in trouble in a chess game. This is where heroism is born, right? He sits down with a self-assuredness that only a teenager can have, with only 20 seconds per move allowed by the clock in a terrible board position as well. But naturally, he kicks the guy's ass. The girls back at school are talking about him and his friend Rivel about how these two are on the student council, which is great since he's brilliant. But Lelouch wastes his time doing things like playing poker. Games, are less important than deciding what is the color theme for Winter Festival this year. I mean, that's where leadership lives or dies. Well, the real story today is about an act of terrorism, prompting the prince who rules Area 11 to give an over-the-top speech about how deplorable it was, and asking for a moment of silence. Lelouch refuses.
Besides, spilling tears over those people won't bring them back to life, now will it?
Yeah, he's a teenager, all right. While the prince is basking in the adulation of the ladies afterwards, Bartley, one of his big-time generals, comes by to mention the truck that the terrorists have. A truck which is about to run down Rivel and Lelouch if they're not careful.
That first move you made, why'd you start with the king?
If the king doesn't lead, how can he expect his subordinates to follow?
That's just stupid.
Oh, that's so metaphoric, it almost doesn't sound idiotic. But anyway, the terrorists swerve to miss them and wind up crashing into a wall, which goes a long way towards explaining how incompetent Britannians can still be their rulers. The two are left face deep in a pair of giant airbags, which confused me for a moment because I thought I might still have been working on Mahoromatic. Lelouch runs over to see if anyone needs help, but he gets the weird psychic touch when he arrives, distracting him so...
Are you in there?
Well, looks like you're now part of the terrorist plot. It's like Mr. Bean delivering a pizza to Bin Laden in the middle of Zero Dark 30. Well, what the pursuing forces don't realize is that there's a commandeered nightmare in the back of this truck, with Colin piloting. That's probably the best I'll ever do with her name. When I try to say it any other way, it sounds like Colin. Anyway, Colin kicks some ass, but Britannia has already sent in nightmares of its own. The newer models, not a relic like hers, which has a bit of trouble. It's not like cars where the old ones were solid steel and the new ones are aluminum and compacted Mexican newspapers. These new models are a lot tougher. Elsewhere...
Aha!
What are you doing?
Looking at a man who blundered, am I right?
Got it in one, Doc. Lab Coat here is with the Special Corps, and his assistant figured out that whatever secret project General Bartley was working on is what the terrorists have gotten hold of. And he's hoping to not only recover that item, but take out the terrorist center of operations in the process.
You people bear the honorary title of Britannians now, but you were born 11s. Therefore, the stench of these monkeys ought to be a familiar one.
None of this racism, pal. These people are not monkeys. Oh, well, I stand corrected then. They find the truck, the driver mortally wounded, and Lelouch trying to figure out what the hell this thing in here is. But the Britannians attack, only he's just an honorary Britannian. In fact, this is Lelouch's old friend, Suzaku. It's a tense reunion made all the worse when the tank of poison gas opens. Note that Suzaku puts his breath mask over Lelouch's face without a second thought there. This is a good indicator of what kind of person Suzaku is.
That's not poison gas.
Those aren't muskets.
It's a girl in a complex bondage suit that they keep inside this sealed steel contraption thing. Either she is incredibly dangerous, or the terrorists have accidentally kidnapped a magician. The Britannian reinforcements arrive, and the only way Suzaku can get back into their good graces is to gun down Lelouch, but he's not willing to do that. So his CO shoots him in the back before moving in to execute Lelouch. But that's when the dying terrorist decides to activate the truck's self-destruct. All delivery trucks have that, you know. Be sure never to piss off the FedEx driver. Well, with this disruption to the plan, the prince makes a decision. Purge that ghetto completely. Kill everyone. Operation 00 Murder. Well, Lelouch is pretty broken up and thinks this all has something to do with that magician.
Old city.
Holy shite, that is the darkest thing I've seen all year. And I just saw a little girl try to throw herself off a roof 2 weeks ago. Lelouch's cell phone gives away his hiding place, and soon he's thrown up against the wall to be executed. But the magician leaps in the way to take the bullet for him, right in the middle of the forehead, too. But she doesn't let a little thing like getting plugged in the brain stop her from grabbing onto his arm and talking in his head about his reason to go on living.
You don't want it to end here, do you?
What?
You appear to have a reason for living.
Well, it's not really a reason so much as a desire to get revenge. Same thing.
If I grant you power, could you go on? I propose a deal. In exchange for this power, you must agree to make my one wish come true. Accept this contract and you accept its conditions.
Oh, watch out, Lelouch. She's going to turn you into a witch. Well, after he accepts the contract, he has a glowing bird in his eye, and at his command, all the Britannian soldiers turn their guns on themselves and happily commit mass suicide. Realizing he has an incredible power, he knows now that he can put his plan into motion, and also how to get into movies for free from now on. Lucky duck.